In this season's edition of former NBA studs who fell off, we have a decent list of players who were once prominent in their own rights, but have went through a drastic drop-off this season. For one reason or another, these guys don't look the same as they used to. Sometimes it's age. Sometimes they aren't getting the same touches as before. Sometimes they just don't fit into the offense anymore. Plus a myriad of other reasons too, which we'll talk about. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today, let's take a look at 6 former NBA studs who drastically fell off. But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to The Ridge for sponsoring this video. Here I have the Ridge wallet and the Ridge key case. The wallet holds up to 12 cards with an extra strap for cash. As you can see, it's much slimmer than your average bifold wallet, like mine. It comes with a lifetime warranty too, and it's available in over 30 colors and styles. This one is stone-washed titanium. The key case is burnt titanium, very light but durable, and fits up to 6 keys. It holds your keys in place so you won't hear rattling noises ever again. Get the best offer with my link, ridge.com/AndyHoops. And right now, you can save up to 40% through December 22nd. That's ridge.com/AndyHoops. Number 6, CJ McCollum. Now, CJ was absolutely phenomenal right after getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. He led them to the playoffs, carried them to victory in the play-in games, and overall, he was playing better than we've ever seen him play before. It was a fantastic season from him. However, now, it seems like he came back down to earth. Well, more like he crashed down to earth through the damn ground. CJ's having the worst season since like 2016. His three-point percentage is at a career low, and overall, his shooting from everywhere on the floor has been off. The Pelicans are doing quite well to start the year despite his struggles. There's really not much of an explanation for why he's struggling. Yes, defenses have been paying more attention to him as some of his teammates have had sporadic injuries and missed a few games. Here's how the numbers look. He's only shooting 45% within 10 feet of the basket, compared to 53% last season. McCollum scores a sizable number of points off of pull-ups. In fact, according to the NBA.com's tracking dashboard, roughly half of McCollum's field goals come from pull-ups. But this season, his effective field goal percentage is noticeably lower than last season, mainly because he's missing a lot of pull-up threes. His catch-and-shoot percentage also plummeted. His shot selection hasn't been any different though, but he's not generating as much space as he used to. More of his shots are contested this year than before, plus he did have an ankle injury in October, and there might be some lingering effects hindering him. That's why CJ has been severely inconsistent. He's had some good games of course, but some horrible games too. It's hard to figure out which CJ we're gonna get. Overall, I think he should improve as the season progresses. Playing alongside Ingram and a healthy Zion, he should be more efficient, not less. John Collins. Remember a few years ago, John Collins was absolutely shredding the league? A few years back, he was a 20-10 player who shot over 40% from 3. Him and Trey were considered the new cornerstones of this franchise. But over the years, he slowly regressed, and now he's probably the 4th best player on this team. The reason is mostly due to the Atlanta Hawks' shift in game plan. Years ago, under former coach Lloyd Pierce, Collins flourished in his slower-paced, more methodical offense. However, while Collins had his best individual seasons under his tutelage, the Hawks weren't finding any team success. When Pierce was fired and Nate McMillan took over, he implemented a much more fast-paced run-and-gun offense, with a focus on their perimeter guys like Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, and Bogdan Bogdanovic. As a result, Collins' role got diminished, but the Hawks were suddenly in the playoff mix now. So later on, when the team acquired DeJounte Murray, the emphasis on their backcourt became even stronger. Collins is now taking the fewest shots per game and scoring the fewest points per game since his rookie season. This has led to trade rumors too. In recent years, it's been clear Collins' future in Atlanta is kinda dicey. A reporter once asked him about what he thinks of the trade rumors and whether he still fits on this team, to which Collins responded, "I try to just take it as respect that other teams want me and the Hawks aren't giving me up. That's the best way to look at it because I do want to be here. Through the years, I've had a harder time accepting it, being in the position I am now." Of course, there's still a place for Collins on this team. If their current playstyle and game plan doesn't work, Collins gives the team a breath of fresh air. He's a very dynamic offensive big man who can score in so many different ways. Even with limited opportunities, he's been in a slump. The Hawks' shift away from their big man hasn't only affected him, it's affected Clint Capella as well, who's also scoring less and getting way fewer touches. I feel like the Hawks could make better use of their bigs, but Collins also has to carve out his own niche. Klay Thompson. So I talked about Klay in a previous video, so I won't be covering him here too much. Basically, he's a shell of his former self. I think everyone knows that. He's having the worst shooting season of his career, and it's clear that suffering two of the worst injuries in basketball is hard to recover from. There's no lift on his jumpers anymore. He used to be a fantastic cutter, but he doesn't do that nearly as much anymore. Heck, he's shooting a whopping 2% of his total field goals at the rim. In his prime, nearly 1/5 of his attempts came from there, so this is a huge difference. Klay had to change up the way he scored because, deep down, I think even he believes he's not capable of driving to the basket anymore. I've never heard anyone say that Klay Thompson is a guy who lacks confidence. Heck, he's made it quite clear over the years that confidence is one thing he does not lack. But this season, he's showing his vulnerability. Just the fact that he rarely ever goes to the rim anymore means that he might be scared. It shows a lack of confidence in his ability. Never mind the fact that he's taking more threes than he's ever had, but at a career low percentage. Even his free throw percentage is 10% lower than his career average. Klay is literally struggling from every single area, so it might just be a mental block at this point. Norman Powell. It wasn't too long ago when Norman Powell was an 18 to 19 point per game scorer. When Kawhi left the Raptors, it paved the way for Powell to have a breakout season. It culminated in a 5-year, $90 million contract in 2021, which he signed with the Blazers after he got traded. I still remember back then, the Raptors were heavily criticized for doing this deal. All they got back in return was Gary Trent and Rodney Hood, but it turns out Trent's development coincided with Powell's decline. While Trent has solidified himself as the Raptors' starting shooting guard, Powell is now treading water on the Clippers' bench. The team has a stacked rotation of wing players, so he's playing limited minutes, and in those minutes, he's been pretty damn bad. Certainly not the same guy we saw who earned that $90 million contract. He has by far the worst contract on this team compared to his production. Defensively, he's still doing well, there's still a lot of energy there. But offensively, it looks like he reverted back to his bench-warming days in Toronto. The thing is, he still has some good games here and there. At times, Powell still shows flashes of his former self, the versatile two-way shooting guard we've always known him as. So the talent is still there, the consistency is not. Powell is already not getting much playing time, and once Kawhi returns, his minutes will drop even further. It's gonna hurt. He's always been a guy who takes a while to get it going. Heck, in every season, he starts off slow because he needs time to get into a rhythm, to get into a groove. But if he doesn't get enough minutes, he won't have the opportunity to get into a rhythm. And that's when he's at his worst. Out of everyone on the team, I think Powell is the most likely to be gone before the deadline. If anyone wants him, that is. D'Angelo Russell. I can't believe D'Lo went from being part of a young, exciting core to being one of the worst point guards in the league. Fans are literally calling for his head, trying to get him benched or even traded. The numbers back it up too. According to PBPstats.com, when D'Lo is on the floor, the Wolves have a negative 3.3 net rating. When he's off the floor, they're a plus 4.7. That's a huge swing for just one player. Although that's partly because the Wolves bench has been killing it recently, but still. Just from watching D'Lo play, it's sometimes infuriating. There's just a clear lack of motivation and focus. Remember what happened a while back? The Wolves had 4 players on the floor because D'Lo was supposed to check into the game, but he forgot. That's the epitome of how the season is going for him. He's been completely out of it. Coach Chris Finch responded to that blunder and said, "It's just the sign of a team that's lacking a little bit of confidence and purpose right now." It's not just his poor numbers either, he makes so many mistakes that don't show up in the box score. I don't think anyone expected the Wolves to be a championship contender after trading for Gobert, but they can't be doing worse than they were last year. They gave up a significant number of future picks, but it was supposed to be in exchange for the chance to compete right now. Yet, they don't even look like a playoff team right now. And number 1, Chris Paul. CP3 has suffered numerous injuries over the years, and combined with his age, that's a recipe for disaster. Heck, even his recent heel injury could be very serious, we don't know. But even before that, he had the worst start to the season of his entire career. His first 10 games were awful, he had no lift on his jumper, and he can't blow past players like he used to. Paul's decline probably started in last year's playoffs, as opponents realized that they could attack him when he's on defense to tire him out. And on offense, longer defenders give him a lot of trouble these days. Still, seeing him struggle in the regular season is a rare sight. Paul, despite his age, has still remained a consistent threat in Phoenix, but this season it looks like everything really came crashing down. It's been a great run for him though. We thought he was done years ago after his last season in Houston, but time and time again Paul bounced back and crushed those doubts. This time, however, I don't know. This might be it. Anyway, that's all folks. Those were 6 NBA players, former studs, who had a drastic fall off recently. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you see any of these guys bouncing back? What other players could you think of would fit the theme of this video? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.